How did you feel coming into this day?
Well, I knew we were ready for today as much as what we could be facility-wise. And, we've been practicing our reopening plan. Each school has their own reopening plan. Last week I walked through each school and had the principal and assistant principal walk through with me, show me everything you're doing from the time that a kid is dropped off till the time that he's picked up. And everything in between. And so I felt comfortable that we're putting in lots of mitigation strategies. One thing that we need to focus a little bit more on now that we have kids back in school is to look at our rigor of our academic instruction and ensure that that is ongoing, because we've kind of been focusing on school safety first. So we'll get back to that, and hopefully we'll start to see standards-based instruction here shortly.
Yeah, because you were telling me that the virtual is delayed by 2 days, you said, right? How come?
Right. So our option 3, or a virtual school, has been delayed until Wednesday. And the reason for that is a variety of factors. We opened up our the ability to choose which instructional option that you wanted. And we kind of left that open so parents had choice. And so within the last week, we had some migration in and out of virtual. About 200 students decided to change their option, or the parents chose a different option for them. So we want to make sure that every kid has a computer. We want to make sure that they have the ability to sign on. We want to make sure that they have internet access at home. And then we also felt like because some of our virtual teachers also teach face-to-face, we felt that it was better to get face-to-face open, started, concentrate on that, give us a couple days, then we'll bring on virtual.
And you said it's about, best guess, 50 in-person, 25 hybrid, and 25 virtual right now.
Right. District-wide, it kind of fell out that way. We have some schools that are well over 65% face-to-face. But we have some that are a little bit lower than that. And again, we just wanted to provide parents the choice to be able to select what option they wanted. They can select option 2, which is the hybrid model. And it's hoped that we'll see those kids transition back to face here, because we know that that's the best instruction is occurring when a student is sitting in front of a teacher.
And so the hope is that the pandemic, the virus, it's not going to, quote unquote, go away, but how to handle it, I guess, is the best way of looking at it.
Right. So we know each family's circumstances are different for why they chose that particular option for their kid. And they may not be ready to come back. It may be because of COVID. It may be that this provided an opportunity to go virtual for them where they never thought about it before. And we have some students that do very well in virtual. And so again, it's just family choice. It may be related to COVID, and it may not be. But we wanted to open that up as long as we could, keep that window open, and then we'll allow some transition back and forth if a student is not successful for some reason, or a student that has chosen to go virtual's mom or dad now becomes gainfully employed. And so we'll work on those on a case-by-case basis, but typically virtual is going to be a semester-long commitment because there's a pretty significant investment in terms of the courseware there and licensing. And also, we can't have massive migrations during the middle of the year because we've staffed based on what we believe will show up. And again, trying to distance, we need to make sure that there's a desk in the classroom for the kid and that there's a teacher ready to go should they make that choice to move.
Obviously, you've seen Martin County. They've been in for a week. They took us around. And then this weekend, we've seen dozens now that they're going to have to make transitions. Obviously, that was something you were concerned about or watching, right?
Right. So I think that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We know that COVID is out there, it's prevalent across the state, and so there will be a time where we have to address that. It's just a matter of when that's going to occur. But we already are set up in our option 2 where we can transition them to that synchronous learning. In addition to that, we're taking lots of steps across our county in order to make sure that students are socially distanced as much as possible. There's hand washing. There's, our buses are operating at half capacity because we know social distancing is not possible there. We reduced class size across the district significantly. So we're doing all these mitigation strategies, so hopefully we can prolong, having to deal with that. But in the end, we're going to make sure that instruction continues to occur. And so we're also going to be, as the Commissioner of Education informed us, to be a little bit more surgical instead of sweeping in the decision to decide whether a class needs to stay home, or is it a group of students, or is it isolated to, a certain bus, in which we can make those kind of decisions on a case-by-case happen in conjunction with our health department.
So do you have a particular ratio? I think in Martin County they'd said if it were 12 out of 100 or something, then they would transition. Do you guys have those kind of similar numbers?
So we're going to look at it again on a case-by-case basis. What is the exposure? What are, is the person symptomatic or asymptomatic? So we've already been talking with our health department to see what that looks like. So we don't have a hard, fast number to say, okay, if you hit X, because every situation is a little bit different. And we want to be flexible. We want to make sure that our students and our employees are safe. And we look to the Department of Health to help guide us, again, on those individual scenarios that we may face.
And last, are teachers considered essential in the county?
They are.
So if as long as they are asymptomatic, they can still come back to the classroom.
Right. We haven't experienced that yet. Thank goodness. We have had some employees that have been exposed, in which we've handled, again, on a case-by-case basis. We're able to isolate those individuals to help contain a potential outbreak or a spread. But we're kind of anxious about it. I think everybody is, and when we hit our first one, that will be a learning experience. But we were one of the first schools to open up for summer school in the region, and so we were able to get a little taste of what that looks like and how you move students around a campus to ensure that they've been kept apart, and how to handle those kinds of situations.
What else did I miss? What message do you want to give parents on this first day? Usually the first day is an anxious day to begin with for everybody, but also there's usually a sense of excitement on the first day, right?
Yeah, I think kids are happy to be back. I know the employees are happy to be back. There is a little bit of reservation, but as you can see, we've been in this school for some time now, and you can see that there are no students in the hallway. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We're trying to keep them cohorted. We're trying to keep, traffic patterns at a minimum. And so everybody here is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we're excited to be back. And we hope that it'll be a long time before we ever have to address some sort of class closure.
I have one question. I don't know if I misunderstood. Do you have certain teachers only teaching virtual and certain teachers teaching in class?
Correct. We have three options. The first is face-to-face. So that's the regular traditional school, come back face-to-face. We have option 2, which is called Okeechobee Sync. And Okeechobee Sync is where that teacher may have half of her class face-to-face and half online. And then with another model within option 2 is to carve out where a teacher does nothing but online. But then we have another school called Okeechobee Virtual School. And that's where you won't ever visit a campus. Your instruction is not live. It's whenever you sign on. We have pacing guides that they have to go through to make sure, and teachers are monitoring if they're following that pace and the performance on their lessons.